Hey everyone, I'm back today with another Baldur's Gate 3 video showing and explaining the very basics of combat within the game. I personally don't feel like the tutorials did the best job at explaining combat, especially with higher level enemies, more allies, and more abilities. So today I'm going to break down combat in some very simple explanations using this combat I recorded. Every combat encounter is going to differ, even the exact same fight, depending on roles, abilities used, and how NPCs react, can change the course of the combat. The NPCs don't follow a set line of actions, so it makes it harder to anticipate what they will do, but you can use tactics and you can try and predict what they might do. Once combat has started, the very first thing that will happen is initiative rolls, which require nothing from you at all. All individuals will roll initiative and the highest number will go first in the initiative order. Since combat in the game works in turns, everyone takes a turn after another person. At the top of the screen, this is the initiative order, what was just rolled for. In this instance, Trin, an NPC enemy, goes first. Enemies have red borders, while the characters you're playing have blue borders and allies will have green borders. It is also important to mention that if anyone rolls the same initiative, such as my 4 characters that all rolled the same initiative, they will have this intertwined border, meaning that you can pick and choose who goes first in the order instead of what is shown up above. So if you want your wizard to go first versus your barbarian or your rogue, you can absolutely do that by just clicking on their icon, taking their turn, and then ending it. So, at the beginning of this combat, Trin goes first, and she shoots an arrow of lightning, attacking Karlach, but also damages Shadowheart and Astarion as there was some area effect to the attack. Trin then casts Hunter's Mark on Karlach and then uses some of her movement. Trin did an action, a bonus action, and took movement during her turn. These will be the 3 things you can almost always do during your turn. On the player's turn, I acted with Karlach the Barbarian first. Before I make any moves with her, I want to explain everything that is on the screen that relates to combat. On the left side with the character portraits, this shows who is all in your party, their current hit points, as well as a symbol denoting that they are in active combat. Beside Karlach's picture, it shows that she is being affected by Hunter's Mark from Trin. Any active conditions or disadvantages your character is experiencing will be shown beside the character's portrait. On the bottom of the screen, we have similar information with her current hit points and what's affecting her. Beside the portrait, we have what she is currently wielding for melee attacks and ranged attacks. Next is the main panel you'll be interacting with. This panel shows the actions, bonus actions, and consumables you can use. The green circle will show all the actions you can do. The orange triangle will show all the bonus actions you can do. For Karlach, the red axe shows how many rages she has left, and the blue square shows any cantrips or magical abilities she has. Spellcasters vary in this display a little bit, but we will address that when we get there. The very last set of boxes show consumables Karlach can use as a bonus action. All of these icons can be hovered on and you can read the abilities, the damage they cause, and if they take an action or a bonus action to do. It is also important to note that any attack or action or spell that does damage, there will be a number range when you hover over the action. This shows the minimal amount of damage you can do and the maximum amount of damage you can do. This is not something you are physically going to roll for. It's all determined within the game. But if you're trying to max out damage or do the most damage to put an enemy under, you might look at this to see what is your possible max. So here I'm trying to see how far Karlach can move. Being a barbarian, Karlach is better used close up to enemies. The white of the line shows that she can move there, and the red shows she couldn't move all the way to that position. Here I tried to take her action to shoot down the brazier, but it didn't work. So since I couldn't get close enough to the enemies, I just moved Karlach into the building so that she would be closer. Lastly, I hit the end turn button to move to the next turn. Next was Astarion. Being a rogue, Astarion can hide, dash, and disengage as a bonus action instead of an action, which is super useful and important. You get these abilities starting at level 2. I immediately used a bonus action to have him hide because rogues can get sneak attack, which deals more damage, but only if they have advantage on the attack roll. An easy way to get advantage is to make Astarion hide, avoiding that red line of sight, and then taking an attack. I also want to quickly explain this pop-up beside the enemy. The percentage tells you how likely you are to hit the target. The advantage means that Astarion will get to roll twice, taking the bigger number in an effort to hit the target. This requires nothing on your part, just information to inform your attack. I do exactly that and then move him out of the line of sight to play this same strategy next turn. Next is my custom character's turn. Looking back at this panel, things have changed a bit. We still have the actions and bonus actions, but my character shows the number of sorcery points that she has left. This is very class specific, so I won't get into details here, but let me know if you want more information. Next is her first level spells, showing she has 3 of 4 slots left. Beside that is her second level spells, showing she has 1 of 2 slots left. Casting classes can only cast spells a certain number of times depending on the spell's level. You get fewer spell slots at higher levels, but higher level spells do bigger things and more damage. All of the colorful icons show the spells that I can use and some sorcerer specific actions. There is an extra panel beside the consumables that again is very sorcerer specific, so I won't get into it right now. So, with my character, I decide to use a second level spell called Scorching Ray. I get 3 projectiles that I can split up between enemies or use all 3 on the same enemy. Here I can't reach Trin, so I shoot all 3 at Anders. I then move my character out of the doorway in line of sight since I know she has less hit points and is in more danger of going down quicker. Last of my characters to go is Shadowheart. The panel looks similar to the sorcerer character, but she has a specific tag for channel divinity, which comes with her class. I move Shadowheart forward so she can have a view of the room. I decide on having her cast Bless on Karlach, Astarion, and herself. Bless gives a d4 bonus to attack rolls and saving throws to each character that is blessed. It lasts for 10 turns, but also requires concentration, meaning that if Shadowheart gets hit, she will have to roll to keep concentration, and if she fails that roll, she and everyone else will lose the effects of Bless. I then move Shadowheart out of the way and end her turn. Next to go is the enemy Anders. Anders is a higher level than my party members and has some extra abilities such as an extra attack with his sword. He begins by jumping the desk, completely ignoring Karlach, and attack my custom character, swinging on her twice. He did miss these attacks as denoted by the miss word above. His turn ends and the last enemy takes her turn, coming out of the shadows and casting Hold Person on Karlach. Once this enemy ends her turn, a round has been completed in combat, which is important for any spells or effect that last for a round or more. Trin takes her turn again, shooting Shadowheart with a hamstring shot. As you can see over here, the shot made Shadowheart have to roll a concentration saving throw, which she succeeded on. If she hadn't, she would have lost concentration on Bless. Back with Karlach, I decide to go after Anders since I know he does a lot of damage and can easily wipe the party. I choose this Legacy of Avernus Searing Smite attack, which is a spell Karlach gets because of her subrace. She does a lot of damage with that hit and I keep her in his range. Back with Astarion, I evaluate if he can hit one of the other 2 hiding, but decide to finish off Anders. I finish off with moving Astarion since I believe these 2 will be coming out of the door soon.
Yes, here.
I move my character into a position of hiding and in my turn since I have no target to hit, and I want to lure them outside instead. Next is Shadowheart, and because of the hamstring shot from Trin, Shadowheart's movement is halved, so I move her as far as I can and end her turn. The 2 enemies take attacks against Karlach, both hitting. On Karlach's turn, I immediately pick up the sword from Anders, as it is much better than what she is currently holding. Anders' sword has a special ability with it called Tears Protection, which increases a creature's armor class by 2. This ability lasts until a long rest is finished, and she regains this ability every short rest, and it requires concentration. It is here that I will also note that all of these characters and players have armor classes, which can be seen in the information tab for all of your players. You need to either hit this number or above this number to actually hit the character. So a smaller number, such as a 12, is going to be much easier for the enemy to hit versus a 15, 16, 17. It is also important to note that by me equipping a new weapon, it takes her action to do that. So I use her bonus action to drink a potion of healing and move her out of the line of sight, hoping to draw them out. I move Astarion forward, hoping to be able to do a ranged sneak attack against one of the enemies.
The subtle approach. This will do nicely.
But he wasn't close enough. So instead, I use his action to dash, giving him another set of movement and move him back out of the line of sight. With no target in sight, I move my sorcerer more into hiding and end her turn, and do the same with Shadowheart.
Let's end this.
One of the enemies casts mirror image on herself, making herself harder to hit while the other one runs out. What is good about this is that she used her dash, which means she took her action to move extra along with her regular movement that she can do. This left her vulnerable to an attack since she couldn't attack me first and my player got to attack first. With Karlach, I activated Frenzied Rage, a barbarian subclass ability, to give her some extra damage and abilities. This took a bonus action to do in one of my rage charges. Then I attack Trin, hoping to make her bleed, which causes a little extra damage each turn. This attack also broke Trin's concentration on Hunter's Mark, which is great. Back with Astarion, we can see that red line of sight better here. I wasn't sure if I could make the shot without him being seen, but apparently he had just enough space to take the shot, killing Trin. I was now waiting on the other enemy to make her way out the door.
So much for peace.
In this time, I also used Shadowheart to cast Healing Word on Karlach, giving her some extra health.
Jimmy on the go.
Just like old times.
Never a dull moment. Can't give up. Take your hero.
This enemy had done exactly what I wanted her to do, so I used Karlach, activating Reckless Attack to up my chances of hitting her.
Like this, mate.
I also used a Pommel Strike on her as it was a bonus action for Karlach. It completely missed but got rid of the mirror image on her, making her easy to hit now. The final strike came from Astarion, who stepped in the line of sight but succeeded on a hiding check. I know it doesn't look like it would make sense, but it gave him advantage on the hit and dealt extra damage, taking the last enemy out. I hope this video has been informative and explained the basics of combat. This is just one way of doing this combat and can go many different ways depending on the people you are fighting and who you have in your party. If you would like more videos like this, please just let me know.